expected to be that core, that head of that unit. I've explained quite a lot around the challenges that we are all now facing as men in the family unit. Politicians would probably say, what is to be done? So maybe I should now locate myself around, what are the simple possible things that as men we can really do to locate us back into society and the family unit. The first component, I've already spoken to it, that we must lead. It's a non-negotiable for us as men. Secondly, the family unit has always extended into the extended family. Us as men, are we playing that role of leading the extended family? I've already alluded that the uncle above us is no longer there. Are we taking that role? Are we embracing that role? Maybe you need to start to be that uncle. I myself was rudely awakened to that fact when one of my nieces was getting married. Alas, I was going to show up at the wedding as a simple, ordinary man, almost as a guest, because I've always said to myself, I'm a medical doctor, I've got enough responsibilities in society, I'm looking after a hospital. We always find reasons to be busy. But one of my aunts said to me, hey, Wayne, we think you need to go and lead the discussions around this lobola. I looked around because among my other cousins, there's quite a lot of us. He said, no, this one is yours, and I'll explain to you why culturally. When you look at my family, the males in the family, there were three, my father and his two other brothers, then the others were female siblings of my dad. He said, don't look at the kids who are your equals, who are born from the females in your father's generation. Wena utswetse khale Letoaba. Letoaba. So let's locate it culturally. Kaoro o Letoaba, o ka se dumele ba Hasakong, ba tswetseng Hasakong to lead this component. I then appreciate how important culturally this has become. I was no longer just one of the cousins in the family, but I had to embrace being that uncle. When there's now problems in the family, it means I must now show up and be that uncle. When somebody is having challenges in school, somebody not behaving, I now have to be that uncle. Either I was going to accept the responsibility or shed the responsibility. But because I'm culturally tuned, I then embrace that role to say, hey, Moskin na steering sa grand. So it means I must take the steering wheel and give orders, not because Kilo Skolo, but because Kin na Letoaba grand. By right, ke star size. So, but also I can't be the star that doesn't show up, right? How na li lifu khomu tshwentse yo batla ke ma. It means star tshwentse must show up. If tshwentse ke search, so be it. So for us as men, because there's no uncle above us, let's embrace that role. It is quite an extended task. Your own family, your extended family, society also calls out to you. Because also today we're talking about the cultural placement of us as men. One of the things that I then had to embrace was now my cultural responsibility. Ya lisiba Letoaba wa Mundebele. I'll tell you a very interesting story. I was a medical doctor practicing, had a practice go to Fontaine, and obviously Nekesaya Kobe, because I'm born and bred Alexander Deep Kloof, and has always been located in a family, in an urban setting. I then had a dream that I just could never understand for about 2 years around this time of the year. So because I was now tuning into my relatives who are in the kumagaeng. I would always sit there, kidulele bagolo. So I used to sit with my grandfather's brother quite a lot. So one day I thought, hey, let me relate this dream to an elder. Maybe he may just be able to locate it for me. So I explained to him what the dreams have been in the past 2 years. He said to me, hey, ntoe lorang itata. Kero chorang ntate mogolo. Ar ntoe lorang ke koma. Shocked as I was, he then said, it means you must go kokome. Remember, I'm modern, born ko Tiplu Soweto, ke gola le Majita. Have never been told about Hoyakomeng in my family. I closed my practice, Kayakomeng, for 8 weeks. I was the oldest guy there, Kokomeng. I think I was 27 at the time. So I had then embraced something very challenging to say, hey, if that democholare eating, hey, then Wi-Fi must tune into my cultural being. So I went. The challenge was now, hey, what do I do with my practice? I was a medical advisor at a medical aid company. Now I must go away for 8 weeks. I must explain to them where I'm going. I went to my boss, my CEO, Pete, hey, I need to go to the mountain for 8 weeks. What are you going to do at the mountain? You can imagine now I also can explain it. So I said to him, hey, I need to go honor my rite of passage from being a young man to an older man. And I think I've embraced it. You are lucky. We will allow you to go do that. At least we had the army as Afrikaners, but now we no longer have that. So the same disruptions that we see among young boys in our black families, they seeing it in the Afrikaner community, but they used to use the military to go and instill discipline. So he said, hey, I wish we also had that in the Afrikaner community. So I was like, hey, it means this thing must be very, very, very right. So off I went, Kaya Komeng, Begersfort, Mafarafara. Spent time there for 8 weeks. And then came out. So how mpona kile ja ka mpotsa ke mang ke tla wa raba. Ke le siba le dimolao tsa ka thabeng ngwana shoka. Ke lotse tla sa thaba ya marobolo thaba ya mokwele ya ba mogotsi wa. Ya re go sa ka hlapano keng ya tobatsi. Ke mon drink ke mon tatasana. Ha diwela maopetse ke nka kotsi ke be a phahle. Na ke tla retetsa ke mang ke sna khaitsedi. Ke mo retetse tsa bo kgarebe an retetse tsa bo soga. Ke go Letoaba ke le Ntebele. Khomuke a gama lebese laella pudi ka hlabana maraja ka tlhoka nama ke ja motho. So as a man you've got to define who are you. Ke le Ndebele ke ja foroko ke ja lebese ka foroko. So as you see me culturally, I can then place myself in my lineage as to who am I culturally. Fortunately, I've been able to answer that question. And it has empowered me to say those who come after me, I'll be able to rear them correctly on the right path around who are they. Yes, I went back to my rural lands in Mashashane, Katsosa Matupi Bakhalabe. I rebuilt my great-grandfather's home. It's now my holiday home. I guess na planning more Josie Kia. So as you see the N1 packed all the time, it's us going home to go reconnect, not only to where our roots are, but where our spiritual foundations are located. So as a man, find yourself, be able to answer, who are you? Who are you as the uncle in the extended family? Who are you as a man in your family? Who are you in the community? The community is calling out to us. The mayor's speech has placed it succinctly to say they need help. We can't always be pointing to government. So as a man, if you've walked around your neighborhood and there's an old age home or a foundation that is located in the area, nkile wa kena wa re a re ke shebe gore mo old age home go tlhokagala eng. how can I help? So we've got to go and plug ourselves back in our communities. But for sure, because they ended. It can't be. It has to happen because you've plugged yourself back into that community, you're taking that responsibility, you're leading. The children down the road are learning from you, be it in behavior, be it in how you speak to them, be it in how you're leading them. We grew up playing sports in the townships. There was always that one Bra Steve who owns a soccer club that we all grew up playing. I played sports extensively when I was young, but fortunately there was that home that located us there. If you're not going to be Bra Steve, then be that guy who just buys soccer boots, soccer ball for that family. Let's support it. Let's lead the young men. We can't blame them when we're not leading them. There's a lot of foundations that you can choose to belong to encompass that role that we speak to. I also had to embrace that because fortunately there's been a foundation in the family. So I'm the vice chairperson of the Julian and Rumlangeni Foundation, where we are now going to try and impact education in society. We've developed an agreement with Northwest University, the education department, just here in Vanderbilt Park, with the intention that we'll come up with a program to upskill our teachers, empower them with learning courses, because we can't just complain for teachers are not doing the part, they're not uplifted when we're not doing the part. So we're hoping that from next year we'll then launch the initiative and train at least about 100 teachers from the Free State, from the Vaal. Hopefully we'll try to impact the Vaal community with that drive. The current challenge, we're talking to companies that have the funding, because these type of processes must be paid for. So all I'm saying is find something where you can go, plug in, lead, impact society. We always assume that there's not enough time to be able to do that role, but trust you me, you will find time. Buntate rado dula go car wash 3 hours. Onto reverse a kolore ala polisha this part ya lived. Society will never see that tire that is not polished. But if you go and impact society, trust you me, will remember you. So there is time. We do have time to be able to impart ourselves and our roles in society. In a community that I come from, Koko Dikloof, fortunately, some guy also my age then started a family day, Koko Dikloof extension. I was quite amazed how impactful that was, because I got to know who are the children in the neighborhood, who are my neighbors, because there's been a lot of change over the years, and one had lost touch to who's who in the area. So we're then able to then have that meeting, something that's simple. But what was admirable was that one individual took an interest to lead all of us in the community to say, know your community, meet the young guys, be able to lead them. So I hope that is clearly defined, that us as men can find things to do. And the possibilities of what we can do are endless. I know we're facing challenges. BEE has pushed us to the last line of beneficiation, but there are things that we can do, rich or not, educated or poor, to be able to impact society. Lastly, what I want to say is that as a man, because I'm a doctor, I must speak to this, love yourself, right? We've got to love ourselves. You look beautiful today. And it's always a pleasure to see men who are carrying themselves well. You don't see their scars, but when they step out of the house, they don't know where there are problems. So we've got to love ourselves. Let's get back to loving ourselves, right? And that also really means exercise, eat well, find something that you really, really love to do for you, not as something that you love for your family. I decided to play golf a few years ago. I'm cycling now. And I remember there was a time when I stopped playing golf post-COVID because I was lazy to get out there. But I think so my wife came and gets a part. You know, you need to start playing again. So it then meant I must have been grumpy. So I need to get out there and do the things that I love, because those things will uplift you. If you feel fitter, you will be well. And remember, participating, contributing, giving up your time is godly. When you give time to others, God will love you. God will embrace you. God will give you the tools that you need. God will really honor your work. When you show up, God shows up. When you don't, you've got nobody else to blame. And lastly, my friends always laugh at me and say, "Hey, Marwayne, baya karane. Kireba for to get spanela pension, you know. So can save a mal. I want to be that grandfather. Okay, if basang hopefully it's about mara we lebo ino na lobo ya o thotse something nyana. Gore ba dule bang shaela around. It will allow you to maintain your dignity into your old age, right? Society will not forget you because you're also taking care of yourselves. So I'd like to say with those words, I hope let's find inspiration to come back to the center as men. Let's find inspiration to lead again. And let's have more of these forums where we can regain our pride back so that we can then place ourselves correctly in the center of society. Thank you.